Upon reaching the elevator that would take him to the second floor, Junho said that he was almost late for his flight. This was because Nuya had insisted on playing another game of Go even though they had already played for 7 hours. Nuya reassured Junho that he would be fine on his own and told him not to worry. He expressed confidence that Junho would do well no matter where he went. The Frost Queen was in awe of the artificial island created by humans. They came across the dimensional elevator where they were greeted by an association member who warned them about the precautions they needed to take on the second floor in the frontier. The member advised Junho that he would be living in the Ruben Empire and should avoid confronting the powerful nobles. Additionally, they must be wary of fiends and other players who take advantage of the area outside the association's jurisdiction to commit crimes. Junho thanked the member for the advice. As Junho entered the elevator, the association member wished him good luck. Junho selected the second floor button and ascended quickly. He noticed that there were multiple elevators and realized this was why fiends were able to evade the association. Frost was scared a bit. Upon arriving at the second floor, the frontier, Junho's Bringer of Spring title was activated, boosting his stats by 30. He was thrilled to find that there was even more magic power on the second floor than on Earth. People were looking to recruit newcomers and one of them noticed Junho all excited, assuming he was just a newbie who had just arrived. One member of their guild arrives and asks what's commotion there, and recognized Junho. The man that everyone is talking about. He was in a hurry to recruit Junho, and assumed everyone was looking to recruit him. Soon, Yuha arrived and announced that she would be the one to take Junho. While Junho was admiring the surroundings, Frost scolded him for acting foolish. However, he soon noticed Yuha and called out to her. Yuha mentioned that Junho's arrival was very close to the deadline, and she would have won a bet if he had been even a few days late. Junho apologized, stating that he does not like to lose. Yuha asked if Junho had any issues with the language barrier, but Junho explained that she was the first person he had spoken to. Yuha laughed and offered to teach Junho a few things, inviting him to come with her. Yuha took Junho to a cafe that only nobles are allowed to enter, and Junho was impressed by the exclusivity of the place. Yuha revealed that she is a baroness, and Junho was surprised that she is a noble. Yuha asked for Junho's first impressions of the frontier, and he admitted that he could feel the difference from Earth. Yuha asks about the coffee. Junho said it tastes exactly like Earth's. Yuha said some things that are on Earth. Yuha mused about what would have happened if humanity hadn't stopped the gates 30 years ago. And if they hadn't been managed to fight monsters. Junho's answer that it wouldn't be pleasant. Yuha explained that it actually happened on the frontier 1,000 years ago, where countless gates were unable to be fended off, and humanity was once annihilated. She mentioned that now all of the gates have disappeared from the frontier, though some of the monsters still remain due to their reproduction. While Junho was lost in thought, Yuha reminded him of the autograph she requested from Spectre. After he retrieved it, Yuha was delighted and thanked him. She presented him letter. Junho joked if it's a confession letter. She denied and said it's a gift she promised for winning the bet, a recommendation letter. She explained that the letter would allow him to dine with Viscount Hosio of the Maliva territory, and possibly receive a quest from him. Yuha also mentioned that completing requests from the locals would lead to rewards and that getting close to nobles was important for better rewards. She also pointed out that teleport gates were the easiest way to travel between cities, but he may not be able to use them. Junho inquired as to why he couldn't use the teleport gate, and Yuha directed him to check his status window, pointing out his tourist status that only permits him to stay in the world for 90 days. She explained that completing quests and obtaining an identification card from the Adventurers Guild could extend his stay. As they were leaving, Yuha cautioned him to be cautious of other players and provided him with a map of the Empire and a guidebook exclusive to their guild members. Junho expressed his gratitude but questioned whether it was appropriate to give such resources to an outsider like him. Yuha encouraged him to level up and promised that he would treat her to something good in return. She then left. Frost compared Yuha to a fox. Junho compares Yuha with cat or dogs. But Frost expressed frustration about Junho's lack of knowledge about women. Junho suggested finding a place to stay in Gileon since they'll be there for a while. Frost recommended the luxurious Shangri-La, but Junho chose the old, which disappoints Frost. He said he needs raw information from people. In the meantime, a group was mugging someone led by a person named Ply. Ply ridiculed the victim for coming to the frontier with low skills, and after beating him, they took his gold. Ply was pleased with the outcome. Upon entering the establishment, Jun-ho had the impression that he was in a tavern from a game, and realized that players from Earth were among the adventurers of second floor. He noticed that the only way to distinguish them was by the fact that players were the only ones wearing vita on their hands. After sitting down, Jun-ho ordered a best meal they have and a drink. However, the server informed him that he needed to pay first, and it would cost 51 copper. Remembering Yuha's advice that 1 copper equals to $1, and 100 coppers equals 1 silver, and 100 silver equal 1 gold. Jun-ho acted confused and pulled out a bag of gold, causing the server to be surprised, and he took 1 gold and hands the change. And also tells him to be cautious about displaying that much money in public could be dangerous. Frost assumed he was showing off his wealth, but Jun-ho explained that people with a lot of money often attract flies. 3 individuals approached Jun-ho and demanded to have a conversation with him. Jun-ho complied and followed them to an alley. However, the leader quickly became afraid as Jun-ho easily defeated his companions. Jun-ho demanded to kneel and revealed the location of their boss. He learned that their boss was named Ply and could be found in a gambling house. Jun-ho then made his way to the gambling house, recalling that Ply was involved in all entertainment-related activities in Jillian, and does business with nobles and have information about them. He sat at one of the gambling tables. A guy named Fiver noticed Jun-ho's presence, and commented on not recognizing him before. Jun-ho explained that he had just arrived in Jillian. Fiver mocked him for heading straight to the gambling house and made assumptions about Jun-ho's previous lifestyle. He questioned if Jun-ho could afford the high stakes, to which Jun-ho confidently replied that he could. As the game began, Fiver quickly realized he was losing to Jun-ho despite thinking he was a newbie. They continued for hours and Fiver was in disbelief that some newbie can beat him, and thinks him as professional gambling player. Unbeknownst to him, Frost was secretly relaying the opponent's cards to Jun-ho. Ply was observing the scene, and he was taken aback as it was the first time he saw Fiver losing money. His subordinate thinks he must be incredibly skilled. He immediately ordered his subordinates to bring Jun-ho to him. After continued to lose, and he eventually signaled the dealer to cheat for him. However, Frost warned Jun-ho about the dealer's cheating tactics. Jun-ho was not surprised and decided to leave with his winnings, stating that it would be a shame if he lost them. Suddenly, a man approached Jun-ho and informed him that their boss wanted to meet him upstairs. He agreed to meet him. Upon arriving, Ply revealed to Jun-ho his reason for letting players cheat in his gambling house. He was confident in his ability to get his money back. Ply also recognized Jun-ho's fame and addressed him as Player Seo Jun-ho. Ply stated that he control over the entertainment industry in Jillian and his strong connections with the nobles. He claimed that no matter how powerful the players are, they are just outsiders from other world who cannot go against the nobles. Jun-ho acknowledged his statement and proposed a deal to return all the chips he earned in exchange for information on the nobles. This angered Ply, who accused Jun-ho of cheating and warned him that taking his money by force would be easy. 2 men approached Jun-ho, and he expressed his disappointment in trying to solve things peacefully. One of the men attacked, but Jun-ho easily dodged the attack and slammed him to the ground, then took down the other man swiftly. Despite Ply's insistence, the men stood up again with weapons, but Jun-ho quickly took them down by flicking chips at them. Ply then drew his gun and threatened Jun-ho to leave the chips and leave. However, as Ply spoke, his gun suddenly disappeared, and he saw that Jun-ho was already pointing it at him. Ply warned Jun-ho that pulling the trigger would cause a lot of trouble for both of them. Jun-ho replied that Ply had more courage than he had thought. Ply eventually agreed to talk, but as he began to speak, Jun-ho still pulled the trigger. However, he managed to catch the bullet before it could hit Ply. He then invited Ply for a chat. Next day, Jun-ho acknowledged the hard work of Ply and his minions, thanking them for the valuable information they had provided about the second floor. After that, he asked them to leave. Then they run away. Jun-ho then turned his attention to finding a quest. He stumbled upon one that required him to hunt whip wolves, which he found to be suitable based on the information provided by Ply. He discovered that a hunting competition would be held in 10 days. With this in mind, Jun-ho intended to level up quickly, aiming to reach at least level 50 before the start of the competition. As Jun-ho was making his way to start the quest, a group of people targeted him and decided to follow him, assuming that he was a newbie. In the jungle, Jun-ho spotted tracks of the whipped wolves. Frost commented on judging by size of paw they must be strong, and wondered about their strength. As they were talking, they were surrounded by the whip wolves. He used his weapon, Cruel Executioner, but was initially overpowered by the monsters. Junho then managed to cut off the tail of one of the wolves, realizing why no other players had taken the quest due to the difficulty level. Then he starts killing them aggressively. Unbeknownst to him, a group of players had been following him and planning to ambush him, impressed by his strength and weapon after defeating the wolves. Though they didn't saw properly because of thick fog surrounding them. One of the player mentioned that it's Seo Junho, a super rookie from Earth. They still plans to continue thinking he just a 30-level player who just arrived here. As Junho finished, Junho was happy that after completing quest his honor will be increased. With the higher honor he will receive more benefits. But he considered catching a criminal, as he believed increasing his honor with quests alone would not be easy. Frost alerted Junho that someone had been following them, and shortly after a man approached him. Junho asks if he is a fan of his. He said yes and asked for an autograph. While Junho was distracted, the man's accomplices tried to ambush him. Frost realized their plan and warned Junho. As they were shaking hand, Junho said they would need at least 40 men to catch him, and froze his arm. One of them charged at him, but Junho used his skill. As other members tried fire magic, but Junho quickly dispatched the attackers with ease, using one of them as a shield against an attack. The remaining attacker tried to flee but was taken down by Junho's frost skill. Junho realized that turning the attackers over to the guards would significantly increase his honor. Upon Adventurers Guild and submitted the whip wolf pelts, the Adventurers Guild staff was taken aback by Junho's name and his previous accomplishment of capturing the criminals. As a result, his honor skyrocketed to 550. Junho expressed his relief that he no longer needed to rely on the quest board to increase his honor. Frost asked about his thoughts on the combat and frontier. Junho replied that it was enjoyable and felt like he was playing a game. Frost observed that Junho seemed to be having a good time while facing new challenges. While wandering around, Junho and Frost stumbled upon Ply seemingly harassing someone. Upon approaching, Junho smacks him and asks why is he harassing people. Ply denied the accusation and claimed that the old man was asking for an impossible request. Jun asked what kind of request is that. Old man take him into his office. They all went back to the office where Ply introduced the old man as Haken, a retired mercenary. Junho asked Haken about his request, and Ply revealed that Haken was trying to enter a dungeon despite being retired. Junho became intrigued as he knew that boss monster materials could be sold for a large sum of money. Junho asked Haken if he had any information about the dungeon, and he learned that it is the Phantom Thief Sheriff's tomb. Haken shared that he and his wife, both mercenaries, raided a dungeon 10 years ago and found ancient writings about a 5-colored goddess statue that could make its owner healthy. They had planned to find the statue before retiring, but last year, Haken's wife was diagnosed with an untreatable tumor. The goddess statue has now become Haken's sole mission to find, even if he has to do it alone. He received information that the goddess statue was located in Sheriff's tomb but was unable to get past the monsters. Ply expressed his sympathy but declined to accompany him. Junho offered to help, and they decided to leave at dawn. Haken was grateful, and Ply promised to help find a caregiver for his wife. Junho acknowledged that clearing quests was more valuable to him than dungeon rewards but couldn't ignore Haken's request. Upon arriving at the tomb, Haken informed Junho that the area was filled with level 60 kobolds with red fur, twice the size of ordinary ones, and he suspected that there were even stronger ones deeper inside. As they made their way forward, a kobold approached them, but Haken managed to stop it with his crossbow. Suddenly, ground was shaking. They suspected that there are at least 20 of them. They found themselves surrounded by multiple kobolds, and Haken estimated their number to be around 50. Junho assumed that the kobolds remembered Haken's scent. Knowing that they had no hope of winning against the monster's horde, Haken thought of his wife and urged Junho to run away and come back with reinforcements. He issued a final request for Junho to find the goddess statue and give it to his wife, Sophia. However, Junho rejected the request and insisted that he should be the one to give it to her. Junho then attacked the kobolds, killing multiple monsters and continuing to fight against the remaining ones. Junho froze the monsters and smashed them to pieces. He thought his training was worth it. Haken surprised with his strength as it's his first time seeing someone this skilled. Haken expressed gratitude towards Junho, They continued to explore the tomb together. After defeating more monsters, Haken warned Junho about the traps on the floor, which soon collapsed, revealing a trap. Haken reminded him of the importance of remaining cautious, especially for strong individuals who are more prone to falling into traps. Frost spotted more traps ahead, and Haken taught Junho how to disarm some of them. Junho thought of combining his knowledge with his frost skill. As they entered a room, Haken immediately spotted the five-colored goddess statue, but Junho remained cautious. Suddenly, a blood kobold champion appeared behind Haken. Junho managed to stop it from attacking and noticed that it was using artificial energy, Kai, which led him to wonder if the Fiend Association was involved. Junho attacked, but the monster caught his weapon, so he took out his gun and fired at it. Despite being hit, the monster continued its attack, which Junho managed to evade. Junho then decided to fight with hands. He landed attacks, causing the monster to fall to the ground, and continued his assault with multiple punches, intending to test how much damage it could take. He landed a final blow, killing it instantly. Junho was happy that his training was worth it. Haken was worried about Junho as his body was hot, but Junho assured him it was nothing to worry about and insisted that he take the treasure of the goddess. Haken insisted Junho take the remaining treasure since he cleared the gate. Junho found a gemstone and wondered about it. As he checked the information, stating that spirits enjoy eating it and it enhances the power of the spirits. Junho offered it to Frost, to which she denied, stating she is the queen, and eating the stone is against her pride. After gathering everything, they decided to leave the dungeon. At Haken's home, his wife was happy, and they decided to live as they wanted. Junho commented on Ply's kindness for taking care of Haken's wife. Ply reveals that when he was young, they took care of him and offered meals, and he's just repaying his debt. Haken and his wife expressed their gratitude and promised to treat him. As they leave, Junho offered money to Ply and asked him to take care of Haken and his wife. Ply asks why he's going to such lengths to help them. Junho answered there's no particular reason. They seemed like honest people, and he decided to help them. Next day, Junho woke up and was surprised by lots of messages. He realized that his reputation has increased due to the last dungeon he cleared. He also acquired a new title called Opener of Spring and 2 more. His reputation had surpassed over 1,000, which will be enough to approach the noble of the frontier. Junho brought a special treat for Frost. Frost inquired about it and why he was giving treats. Junho replied that he was happy after his reputation had increased. Frost took a bite, and Junho asked her if it was tasty. She was overjoyed and claimed it was perfect. Unknown to her, Junho had put spirit stone in the cake. Junho then decided to focus on leveling and search for the information about monsters that unleash magic powers in the community. However, he realized that his information board and news board was locked. To unlock them, he needed to collect player points. When Frost asked about player points, he explained it was digital currency earned through community activities. He thought doing such activities all day just for player points was impractical. Junho called Yuha and asked if there was a faster way to collect player points. She tells him about the video board, where he can upload hunting videos or boss raid videos. The more views he gets, the more player points he can accumulate. Junho thought that he can level up while earning player points. Yuha asks if he wants to ask about anything else. Junho asks if she heard about monsters that use lethal magic. She was surprised and said she had never heard of it before. She wondered why Junho would bring something like that. Junho thanked her for the information and ended the call. Frost said she's being too innocent, she must be pretending not to know. Junho said there's a possibility that Big Six knows the information and agreed to keep it hidden. But there is another possibility that they don't know about it. It has been 25 years since the second floor opened. Yet there is no information about monsters that can use magic. It means that these entities have appeared recently. He decides not to waste any time. Frost asked if he planned on going to the hunting ground, to which he confirmed positively. In the hunting ground, Junho discussed improving teamwork. First he asked Frost to do a slime quest, to assess how much her power had increased after consuming the spirit stone. He inquired if she needed any weapons. She explained that her power relied on his mental strength, which needed to remain sharp, and she was excited to showcase her hunting skills. As they were talking, a group of slimes surrounded them. Frost snapped her fingers, freezing the area, and then proceeded to destroy the slimes into pieces. She was pleased to display her abilities, but Junho pointed out that her quest was to gather slime cores, not annihilate them. As they moved to different locations, slimes continued to follow them. Frost froze them again, this time creating spears to extract their slime cores. Junho was impressed and praised her for the speed with which she created those spears and her accuracy. He designated her as a supporter, and then asked her to summon an ice golem. Upon summoning the ice golem, Junho inquired if they had their own consciousness. Frost explained they do, but they are extremely dumb. So she controls them in a fight. He asked if she could support him and control the golem simultaneously. Frost, asserting her position as the Frost Queen who froze the world, stated not to underestimate her. After gathering numerous slime cores, Junho praised her. He mused about whether the golem could possess even a bit of intelligence but expressed satisfaction with the outcome. He mentioned they needed to prepare various things once they reached the city. Frost asked if he wouldn't focus on leveling. Junho replied that she was much more powerful than he had imagined, and their main objective would be a kobold hunting tournament. He believed that with his skills, he could catch the noble's attention. After their training, he brought more treats for Frost, who was delighted. Junho mentioned he needed to meet someone. He was looking for an alchemist named Shasha Alkini, who was indebted to Ply. He noted that alchemy on the frontier surpassed that of Earth's. He remembered a document mentioning important families and nobles, including a fallen noble, Charlotte Chemist. She was skilled enough to catch the attention of Big Six. However, he wondered why she was hiding behind a fake name. After arriving at the abandoned house, he rang the bell and called her name. She came out and asked why he was there. Junho replied he has come because of Ply. She thought he had come to collect a debt. She responded that she didn't have any money. Junho clarified that he wasn't there to collect money. Instead, he could assist her in repaying all her debts. Surprised by his response, she invited Junho in. He had something to request, considering she was an alchemist. However, she quickly rejected his request, stating she was tired. He insisted after listening to his request. She would definitely accept the request. He displayed the core of a cinder fox. She was astonished by it. He requested to make a potion using core. Initially skeptical, she stated that she wouldn't have fallen for his tricks, but seeing the core, she couldn't refuse the request. She inquired about what he wanted to make from it. He requested a potion that would strengthen his mind. She answered that it wasn't impossible to make and emphasized the need for fair payment. He promised to repay all her debts and add an extra 50 gold for her. She appreciated the offer and instructed him to return after 5 days. He thought 5 days would be enough time for him to reach level 50. In the next scene, Frost was sleeping, and Junho took her blanket, making her furious. He explained that it was time to hunt. She questioned what they wanted to hunt in the middle of the night. Junho answered thunder bears. Junho stated that they would focus on 3 main objectives: reaching level 50, improving teamwork, and filming a video to upload on the community board to earn player points. She asked if he was going to display Frost's skills, to which he replied that he would not use Frost's skill while recording. Suddenly, they saw a thunder bear charging at them to attack. He swiftly dodged the attack and countered with his blade, killing it instantly. He asked Frost if she had recorded that. As they reviewed the footage, Junho affirmed that it came out clear and clean. However, Frost questioned the purpose of anyone watching it if it wasn't entertaining or informative. Junho explained that such footage served as valuable information for creating strategies and learning combat techniques. Their next focus shifted to teamwork. As a massive thunder bear charged at them again, Junho inquired if Frost was ready. When the bear came forward with its claws, Junho aimed for the bear's vulnerable spot, striking with precision. Despite Junho's aggressive attacks, the bear retaliated, closing in on him. In a swift move, Frost summoned a giant shield just in time, effectively blocking the bear's attack and protecting Junho. Taking advantage of the distraction caused by the shield, Frost swiftly ended the bear's advance by summoning ice spears, dealing a lethal blow that took down the thunder bear. Junho expressed that they could create a great video by battling a boss monster. However, Frost suggested watching videos of others first to learn from their experiences. He then opened a regional channel where someone was requesting assistance. In the next scene, a group of people were seen being chased by thunder bears. One of them, in desperation, ordered the others to shoot flares into the sky as a distress signal. However, his teammate questioned whether anyone would come to their aid. He mentioned the presence of another hunting party in the area and expressed a wish for someone to come to their rescue. At the same time, Junho and Frost noticed the flares in the sky. Frost urged Junho to go and help them. She emphasized that if they could film the rescue, it would get a lot of views and earn player points. However, Junho hesitated, wondering if it could potentially be a trap set by someone. Frost suggested that if the request turned out to be a lie, they could film the hunters targeting the players. This way, regardless of the outcome, they wouldn't incur a loss. It would be a win-win situation for them. A group was still being chased, receiving a call from another party stating they were on their way but a bit far off. It would take approximately 15 minutes for them to arrive. Suddenly, a thunder bear charged towards them, launching an attack. The team leader raised a shield to block the bear's attack, but the impact was massive. The bear attempted to attack again, but the leader countered back with his weapon. It merely scratched the bear. Meanwhile, the rest of the teammates were struggling to fend off the surrounding thunder bears. The team leader regretfully expressed that they should have run away while he was holding them. However, as the bears closed in, intent on finishing the leader, Junho suddenly entered the scene. He struck the thunder bear with a single powerful blow, instantly killing it. The group was in shock, and Junho stated that he was there to help them. Frost praised him for his great entrance. Junho thought that he couldn't show too much of his strength, nor could he make himself appear weaker. Director Frost instructed him to continue with the dagger, mentioning that it would look cool. Junho thought that people usually don't hunt with a dagger, but it might be a good idea to showcase his skill. A thunder bear charged at Junho, aiming to strike him. With fast reflexes, he evaded the bear's attack. He wielded his dagger, landing multiple blows on the thunder bear with remarkable agility and precision. As the thunder bear fell, he noticed the other bears becoming more aggressive. The group of people witnessing his skill wondered who he was. Junho decided it was time to demonstrate his strength. Advancing towards the bear, prepared to confront it head-on, Junho intercepted the bear's retaliatory swipe of its claws aimed to block his advance. He absorbed the impact of the bear's strike and then swiftly cuts off its fingers. Creating an opening, Junho delivered a powerful blow that beheaded the thunder bear. Others were in disbelief, and two bears ran away. Frost suggested going after them, but Junho replied, "Let them go." One of the members expressed their gratitude to Junho for saving them. The team leader recognized Junho and expressed gratitude, mentioning that he had always rooted for him. They insisted that Junho take player points as a reward, explaining that it's hard to gather player points when players first arrive at the frontier. Junho wasn't expecting any reward, but he gladly accepted and thanked them. Later, they reviewed the footage, and it turned out to be good. Junho praised her for the quality of the video. She suggested a title called Black Knight Returns for the video, but he refused, deciding to go with the title test video only. After defeating multiple thunder bears, Junho remarked that out of the 3 goals they had set, they had achieved 2, teamwork and reaching level 50. Frost suggested checking the audience's reaction. When Junho opened the video board, they were surprised by the views they received, stating that it was more than he had imagined. He also checked that they had obtained a significant amount of player points. Frost was delighted with the outcome. They checked the comments, finding discussions about Junho's level and skills. There were numerous positive comments along with some negative ones. Some people argued that he didn't chase down 2 bears and labeled him as an amateur. Additionally, there were arguments suggesting that his wealth and access to Noya's smith's armor made it easy for him to defeat bears. Junho decided to prove his skills at the kobold hunt, so they will not doubt him again. Yuha and her secretary watched the video and found him impressive. They understood why Spectre chose him as his proxy. Yuha pondered whether Junho was trained by Spectre. When asked why she thought that, she pointed out that Junho's way of holding the dagger was similar to Spectre's. However, she also mentioned that if Junho had been learning from Spectre, he would have learned swordsmanship rather than how to use a dagger. In the Fiend Associations, Nazad Hallow was seated on his throne. One of his subordinates greeted him and informed him about Junho's location. Nazad Hallow instructed the subordinate to keep an eye on Junho and make a move when the time was right. Additionally, he was informed that Junho's movements in the video were impressive, and sending a 90-level fiend would be adequate. Nazad ordered to send 2 more fiends along with him, totaling 4 fiends in total. He mentioned that Jun-ho survived 3 crises, and one of them was his superior Khal Singer, prompting him to seek revenge. Nazid stated that if Jun-ho survived this encounter as well, he would take matters into his own hands. On the frontier, Jun-ho was prepared to participate in the kobold hunt. He arrived at the location where the hunt was organized. People were discussing their skills and rewards. Upon seeing Jun-ho, they started discussing him, recognizing him from the dagger video. Jun-ho thought that there were too many players and adventurers participating. He caught the eye of the guard captain, who introduced himself as Max and complimented Jun-ho, mentioning that he had heard about him from the guards. He asked Jun-ho to follow him to meet the commander. Leading Jun-ho to a training arena where players were being tested for the hunt, the guard captain introduced him to the commander. The commander remarked that Jun-ho looked strong and inquired about his level. Jun-ho replied, stating he was at level 50. The commander explained their aim to minimize casualties by assessing applicants' skills, requesting Jun-ho to wait until they called for him. Jun-ho noticed that their opponents were Gillian knights, known for their strength. He observed a fight between an adventurer and a knight. The adventurer asked the knight if a wooden sword would suffice, to which the knight expressed confidence. The adventurer charged at the knight with a spear, but the knight swiftly blocked the attack. He sent the adventurer's weapon flying through the air, showcasing his skill. Jun-ho was impressed, noting that the standards were quite high. Next, a player named Baek Jianhwa stepped up. The knight asked him if he was going to fight barehanded, to which Baek confirmed. As the fight began, Baek charged at the knight with full force punches, but the knight swiftly blocked each strike. During the fight, the players discussed that Baek had debuted 16 years ago, but hadn't shown much progress. He was infamous for being talentless despite his training. He continued training to become stronger because his family was killed by fiends, causing Jun-ho to notice some potential in him. Despite being repeatedly blocked and beaten, Baek kept getting up. He prepared for another attack, but the commander intervened, stating he didn't have to push himself that far during a skill test. The commander warned him that the hunt wouldn't be easy and that he could die. However, Baek answered that he didn't care. Seeing Baek's stubbornness, the commander agreed to take him on a hunt. Jun-ho thought that Baek reminded him of Gilberto. After losing his wife, Gilberto became a hunter to protect his son. Despite having a D-rank skill, Gilberto became one of the 5 heroes, but Jun-ho remarked that Gilberto was more talented than himself. Next was Jun-ho's turn. Baek also recognized him from the Thunder Bear video. When Jun-ho stepped foot inside the arena, the knight immediately swung his sword at him, but Jun-ho swiftly dodged it. He reacted quickly, grabbing the knight's neck and slamming him onto the floor. The commander quickly stopped the match and announced the results. He invited Jun-ho to the hunt after 3 days. The next day, Frost was asleep on her new bed. Jun-ho woke her up and asked how she liked her new house. She replied that it was good. Meanwhile, Jun-ho was searching for news related to Baek. He found discussions about fiends killing his family, and his perceived lack of talent. Feeling empathetic, Frost asked Jun-ho who Baek was. Jun-ho replied that he had seen him during the test. Jun-ho checked his own stats and thought that if he were to reach a 200 magic stat, he might have the possibility of releasing his friends. He visited Sasha and remarked that she looked like a mess. She admitted that it had been extremely difficult, but she managed to brew the potion. Sasha warned Jun-ho that the mind-strengthening potion was highly potent, and it would be difficult to absorb. She cautioned that it could potentially damage his mind. Despite the warning, Jun-ho drank the potion in one sip. He began feeling symptoms as his body temperature rose. Frost started cooling his body and urged him to hold on a little longer to absorb it fully. His body began glowing, and he sensed a different feeling within him, confirming that it had worked. Jun-ho paid her 50 gold, clearing Ply's debt as promised, and mentioned that he would return with another request soon. Sasha was impressed that her potion had worked so effectively on him. On the day of the hunt, everyone gathered together. The commander delivered a speech, expressing gratitude to all the participants. He explained that in the past few months, the Gillian's eastern gate had been shut down due to an increase in violent kobolds who had taken residence in the mountains. Their primary goal would be to hunt down every kobold and take down their leader. He further explained that the reward would be based on each individual's contribution. Jun-ho thought that in order to meet the city lord, he would have to take down the kobold lord. The commander announced that they would be heading to Gillian Mountain. On the eastern mountain of Gillian, everyone appeared relaxed as they made their way towards the mountain. Junho decided to observe the situation and began moving slowly to avoid drawing attention from others. As the hunting party ventured into the depths of Gillian Mountain, they were suddenly ambushed by a group of kobolds. Commander orders everyone to get in formation. Everyone quickly came into action. The commander took down several of the kobolds with strikes from his blade. Junho blocked attacks and countered swiftly with his daggers. His quick and calculated movements allowed him to neutralize the immediate threats, taking down several kobolds. While engaged in battle, Junho observed Beak's strong punches and concluded that Beak definitely had more experience reflected in his fighting style. As the number of kobolds decreased, the remaining ones fled the scene. Junho managed to eliminate 5 kobolds, realizing that being at the forefront provided a significant advantage. He noticed more kobolds on the mountain and wondered if they were blood kobolds. Junho felt something strange and thought that they might have ambushed them to test their strength, as if someone had given them orders to do so. As night fell, everyone rested in their tents. Beak sat alone, eating, when Junho approached and sat next to him. Junho asked him why he didn't use weapons. Beak replied that it was related to his ability, something he couldn't reveal. Then Beak left to patrol the area. Frost remarked that Junho wouldn't gain anything from befriending Beak. Junho agreed, but he believed that Beak seemed destined to become stronger, and felt compelled to help him bear the pain. The next day, they were heading towards the mountain when Junho noticed a blood kobold on the cliff. Suddenly, the ground began shaking due to a landslide triggered by the kobolds. They attempted to descend the mountain. Junho anticipated that once the landslide passed, the kobolds would come charging down the mountain. He decided to confront them alone. Rushing towards the mountain, he prepared to block the blood kobolds. As they noticed Junho, they attacked him with large stones. Swiftly, he drew his weapon and cut the stones to defend himself. Realizing there were hundreds of kobolds, he threw his weapon, taking down multiple kobolds with a single powerful strike. Switching to his bow, Junho began picking off the kobolds with his arrows, quickly eliminating several of them. As the arrows ran out, with a remarkable speed, he charged at the kobolds, managing to dispatch more of them before his weapons started wearing out and getting destroyed. Junho threw his shield towards the kobolds and then he ran towards the cliff, luring the blood kobolds, taking out his main weapon. Cutting swift and precise strikes, he efficiently eliminated multiple kobolds, showcasing his combat skills. In the following scene, Beak was emerging from the landslide while Frost was aiding everyone in regaining consciousness. Upon realizing that someone was still engaged in battle on the cliff, Beak promptly decided to climb up to offer assistance. Upon reaching the top, to his surprise, he witnessed Junho in the midst of battling the kobolds single-handedly, having already killing a large number of them. A kobold attempted to attack Junho from behind, but Beak intervened, successfully blocking the attack. Junho expressed his gratitude for the assistance, and asked about the other's condition. Other adventurers and players also climbed up, astonished to see Junho's feat of taking down hundreds of kobolds on his own. Feeling relieved, Junho prepared to face more kobolds as they began to appear, and the adventurers and players swiftly charged at them. Meanwhile, a blood kobold lord observed the case and launched an attack. Beak assured Junho that they would handle the remaining kobolds and urged him to focus on defeating the blood kobold lord. Concerned about Junho's mental strength after expending a lot of energy to wake everyone up, Frost inquired about his well-being. Junho assured her that he was fine and that Sasha's potion was effectively working. Frost mentioned that he would have a lot of scolding after the fight. He approached near the cliff and called out for Blood Kobold Lord for battle. As the Blood Kobold Lord descended from the cliff to face off with Junho, it charged quickly towards him. Junho swiftly dodged the attack, swinging his sword, but it merely scratched the Lord's armor, causing minimal damage. Junho continued his assault with multiple strikes. The Kobold Lord retaliated, but Junho evaded its attacks. With incredible speed, Junho reached to the Lord's back, piercing it with his sword. Enraged, the Kobold Lord unleashed a ferocious surge of demonic energy. The alarming display of demonic power caught everyone's attention. Junho found himself reaching his limits. Suddenly, the Kobold Lord conjured a barrier, trapping both of them inside. Junho knew time was running out, his boots about to lose, urging him to end the battle quickly. Pulling out his dagger, the Kobold Lord charged aggressively. Despite the Lord's relentless attacks, Junho adeptly dodged each strike. With swift movements, Jun-ho launched himself into the air, delivering a powerful blow to the Kobold Lord. However, the impact affected him, sending Jun-ho flying back against the wall. The Kobold Lord aimed a devastating blow towards Jun-ho. He swiftly activated flow manipulation to evade the attack. Seizing the moment, he reached for his blade and activates darkness energy to strike down the Kobold Lord, finally defeating it. Frost inquired about his condition. He asked Frost to look for the others and make sure no one was watching him. Frost asked for the reason. He replied that he was going to perform the confession of the dead. The Kobold Lord was destined for greatness from the moment of his birth. His power expanded day by day, leading to the growth of his kingdom. He captured other tribes through invasions and wars. 2 fiends, their faces covered, appeared and annihilated every kobold. Jun-ho wonders if they are stronger than Cal Singer. They were searching for kobolds and were plotting something with them. These 2 fiends attempted to feed a gem to the Kobold King, forcefully implanting the gem into the kobold's heart, which made him go berserk with power. After consuming the gem, the kobold evolved into a blood kobold lord. 2 fiends were having a conversation, noting that they've skipped a few steps and that other teams are pressuring them to achieve significant results despite it being their field. One of them inquires about the experimental results on the kobold, asking if they were successful. The other responds that the kobold's power has significantly improved without losing control, and he gains his intelligence, so they can consider it a success. She then asks the kobold if he knows the location of Gillian Castle and commands him to attack and occupy the castle. After reviewing the memories, Jun-ho realized that the kobold was still in the experimental stage. However, he speculated that with more data, they might be able to create the most powerful monster yet, compelling even the Big Six Guild to intervene. Jun-ho made the decision to acquire more power as quickly as possible. In the next scene, Frost suggested to Jun-ho that he should give his best performance for the outro. She mentioned that if it appeared dull, the scene wouldn't come to life like in the movies. On the sidelines, spectators were observing the fight scene, waiting anxiously. As the atmosphere grew quieter, a shadow emerged from the smoke, leaving the party wondering who it could be. Eventually, the shadow revealed itself to be Jun-ho. The crowd cheered for Jun-ho, shouting and celebrating their victory. They asked him about the video and when he planned to upload it. They offers for guild membership and promising fair payment for his efforts. Everyone was happy about the victory. Beak observed that Jun-ho seemed tired after the battle. Jun-ho replied that it felt amazing to win the battle and he felt relaxed. He also realized the comfort of leaning on someone's shoulders. The commander expressed his gratitude and praised Jun-ho for keeping everyone alive. He mentioned that the captain would call him for his reward. Everyone bid their goodbyes to Jun-ho. Beak mentioned it was a good decision to participate in the expedition as he had leveled up significantly and learned many things. He then gave his community ID to Jun-ho and said if he ever needed help, he could contact him. Jun-ho appreciated his offer and mentioned that when they meet again, Beak should become even stronger. Beak replied that he would work hard to live up to Jun-ho's expectations. After the battle ended, Frost scolded Jun-ho for putting himself in danger, emphasizing that he was no longer a hero. She scolded him about various things, but Jun-ho was not listening and ignored her. Frost advised him to consult with her before engaging in battles from the next time. Frustrated, Jun-ho seemed lost in his own thoughts. Frost expressed her concern, worried that he might end up getting hurt or worse. Recognizing his mistake, Jun-ho assured her that he would be more cautious from now on. She starts babbling again. As she continued to speak, Frost suddenly began to glow, surprising both of them. It turns out that Frost got a promotion. In the next scene, Frost was sitting in the bathtub feeling upset about receiving a promotion. Jun-ho picked her saying she looks cute, but she didn't like such treatment, stating she was the queen. Jun-ho remarked that he suspected she was a low-rank spirit. Embarrassed, Frost explained that she was at the second stage of the highest rank. He didn't believe and dropped her. Frost clarified that she was the first spirit to reach this level, and then she ran away from there. Jun-ho pondered if there were still ranks he wasn't aware of and speculated that even if there weren't, she would eventually reach the highest ranks someday. The next day, the city lord called for Jun-ho. He asked Frost if she wanted to accompany him, but she declined, mentioning she had work to do. Upon arriving at the Gillian Lord's mansion, he found the Gillian Lord and commander waiting for him. Introducing himself as Viscount Gillian, the lord of the city, he praised Jun-ho's confidence, noticing that most players get scared upon entering the room, but sensed something different about him. Suddenly, a maid came screaming that the young lord was in critical condition. He immediately rushed out of the room. The commander apologized to Jun-ho and asked him to leave for the moment. Jun-ho requested to stay and observe the young lord's condition. The commander asked why, and Jun-ho replied that it might be a disease known only to players and he could possibly help. After some consideration, the commander agreed and allowed him to watch from a distance. The young lord was in a severe condition, experiencing a sudden high fever, even after the treatments. The Viscount, extremely worried, asked the priest to do something, but the priest mentioned they had done all they could. Viscount staggered, overwhelmed by concern. In the midst of this, Jun-ho noticed the young lord's condition and approached him. The commander instructed him to step back and observe from a distance. However, Jun-ho, lost in thought, observed that the young lord's condition was severe. Upon examining his body, he discovered that the magic was tangled and disorderly. In addition to that, he sensed the demonic energy within him. Jun-ho assured them that he could dissolve the demonic energy within the young lord's body. The commander expressed disbelief, stating that even the priests of Gileon couldn't achieve such a feat. Jun-ho asserted that he could do it with his abilities. The commander warned him that if something seemed off, he would intervene. After grasping his hands, a message appeared stating that he could absorb the demonic energy using his Watchguard of Darkness skill. Jun-ho began the absorption process, but the demonic energy resisted. Despite his efforts to dissolve the demonic energy, he could only manage to suppress it. The Viscount and his wife arrived, concerned about their son's condition. Thanks to Jun-ho's intervention, the young lord showed signs of improvement. Grateful for Jun-ho's help, the Viscount sought to express his gratitude and inquired about Jun-ho's whereabouts. The commander explained that Jun-ho had departed for his own world. Before leaving, he mentioned having a friend capable of completely curing the illness and expressed intentions to bring that person to help. In the Players' Association, Duke entered his office and was surprised to find Jun-ho eating noodles there. Duke inquired why Jun-ho had come without contacting him first. Jun-ho explained that he had come to meet his friend. Duke asks if he missed him that badly. In confusion, Jun-ho clarified that he wasn't referring to him. Duke mentioned that he didn't have any friends besides him. He then told him that he had come to release his friends from the ice. Duke expressed his happiness, stating that the past 5 heroes would reunite once again. Then, Jun-ho shared the information he had gathered from the frontier. He spoke about a demonic gem and suspected that fiends were plotting something big. He managed to stop them this time, but he won't be able to stop them once they tame powerful monsters on a large scale. Additionally, he also instructed him to provide this information to the Big 6 guilds and inquire if they are aware of it. Duke asked if the fiends getting closer to the city lord's son meant that normal people could also have demonic gems. Jun-ho replied that it was hard to tell at the moment. He found traces of demonic energy in that boy, but he didn't become a fiend. He thinks they made him consume a smaller fragment of demonic gem. Duke assured him he would raise this topic at the World Conference. Duke expressed his wish for a world free from fiends. Jun-ho responded, telling him that he could fulfill that wish if he managed to awaken all the heroes. He was thinking of announcing that Spectre would head for the 2nd floor before them. Duke thought that the news of the 5 heroes joining forces would be significant. He then inquired about Frost's whereabouts. Frost was behind the couch and waved her hand in response. Duke jokingly asked if she was catching up on dramas and movies. Jun-ho informed him that she was actually editing the video they had filmed on the 2nd floor. Additionally, he mentioned that she had been promoted. Before leaving for the museum, Jun-ho gave Duke a tablet and asked him to load some dramas and movies onto it. Duke asked if there were any preferences, to which Frost mentioned classical dramas. They arrived at the museum, standing before his frozen friends. Jun-ho reflected on the experiences and bonds he had forged throughout his journey since waking up. He felt bad that he was the only one who had all these experiences. Upon touching the statue, he received lots of messages revealing that he could remove the seal on the ice statue. However, his magic stat will permanently decrease by 70 points and a 50% drop in all other stats for a month. Furthermore, he could only lift the seal from one statue and would be unable to do so for any other statues for the next 90 days. Perplexed, Jun-ho asked Frost why there were so many penalties involved. Frost explained that his understanding of Frost is considerably lower than she had. Jun-ho considered the curse cast 26 years ago, and wondered how strong she was. He speculated that if he developed his Frost skill, the penalties might decrease. However, he faced the issue of deciding which one of them he should awaken. Junho reflected that Gilberto would level up quickly for his son's sake, Mio would prioritize her family, Ramadat would rush to the second floor upon learning about stronger monsters and fiends without listening to him, and Skaya would go wild the moment she found out about the fantasy world. He thought about awakening someone who could immediately assist and contribute on a large scale. Frost asked if he had decided yet. Junho answered yes and lifted the seal. As the ice shattered, Junho immediately felt the aftershock, catching Skaya as she fell to the ground. Skaya slowly regained consciousness, seeing Junho in front of her eyes, and greeted him. In the next scene, Skaya was thrilled to see the beautiful scenery and amazed by seeing people walking the streets without any fear. Junho joined her and mentioned it's a monster-free world they created. She became emotional, and Junho teased her if she's crying. He then mentioned that he had woken up a year ago, and now she is no longer older than him. She became upset and firmly stated that she would always treat him like a little brother. Junho asks if she remembers the Frost Queen. She answered that she does remember. Junho told her that their battle had lasted for 3 days, and expressed guilt for not being able to help them sooner. Skaya comforted him by saying he fought well, and if he hadn't been there, they would have never defeated the Frost Queen. Then she asked him how he had defrosted her. Junho replied that it would be faster if she saw for herself. He froze a cup of coffee, and she immediately understood that it wasn't magic, but a skill. Junho explained that it was an X-rank skill called Frost, and he was probably the first one to obtain this skill. She then asked if he received a title like holder of the X-rank. He got confused and mentioned that he didn't get any title. She told him that when she became the first person to create magic, she got the title called Archmage. Junho mentioned that he did get a title when he became the first person to clear 10 floors of a cave of trials. Then she mentioned that he only cleared 9 floors, and re-entry was not allowed. Junho asked her to check her stats. Skaya checked her stats and found that she was level 80. Junho was shocked and asked Frost why Skaya's stats hadn't reset. Frost thought maybe it was because Junho came in direct contact with her core. Skaya asked who he was talking to. Junho gave a signal, and then Frost revealed herself to Skaya. Overjoyed with her cuteness, Skaya quickly grabbed her. Frost told her that she was the Queen of Niflheim, the one who froze them, the Frost Queen. She explained her actions and apologized to Skaya, who forgave her and asked her to help in her research. They quickly departed for Duke's office. Skaya congratulated Duke for becoming the president of the Player Association, and he thanked her. Duke asked Junho about the penalty. Junho told him that he lost 70 points in magic stats, and all his stats dropped by 50% for a month. Duke mentioned that he can't go to the second floor with such stats and suggested Junho should rest for a month after treating Gillian Lord's kid. Junho didn't like the idea and stated he was going to stay at Gillian to raise his fame. He asked Skaya about her plans, and she expressed her interest in heading to the frontier to explore new magic. Duke suggested they should announce Skaya's return but raised concern about the need to move statues of other heroes somewhere else. Junho replied that when Skaya woke up, she had already moved them to her magic lair. Junho suggested a change in the plan of Spectre's journey on the frontier. He proposed having Spectre on the earth and Archmage on the frontier. This way, fiends would be immobilized between them. Duke liked the idea and planned to announce it in a conference. Before that, Duke decided to circulate pictures of the frozen heroes on the internet to bait the fiends. Junho was thinking that when they reached inside the museum, he would eliminate them steadily. In the following scene, Junho headed for a conference. Skaya told him to hype everyone up before her entrance. Junho entered the conference room. He apologized for gathering them on short notice and began the conference. He mentioned 3 terror cases caused by fiends on Earth in the past few months. Junho explained that while crime rates on Earth had decreased, they increased by 37% on the frontier. He contemplated how to deal with fiends in 2 places simultaneously but realized he couldn't be in 2 places at the same time. When a reporter asked if he had found a solution, Spectre responded that he had, introducing his teammate, the Archmage Skaya Killerland. News quickly spread worldwide about Skaya's return. The Big Six held a meeting where they discussed their passive cooperation to maintain their image. However, now with the possibility of all 5 heroes returning, they considered uprooting the fiends altogether. Outside of the museum, 2 security guards were talking. Suddenly, 2 fiends swiftly dispatched them. One fiend expressed disappointment that he couldn't kill them. The other fiend explained that players from associations have vitas, and when they die, a notification is sent. They quickly dispatched all the players outside the museum and proceeded inside. After dispatching everyone, they came across a door which they burst open. A fiend attempted to touch the ice statue to shrink it, but his skill didn't work. Trying again, an ice golem burst out of the statues to attack. He managed to evade its attack, but behind him Spectre was stood with his blade at the fiend's neck. The fiend retaliated, but Junho swiftly swung his sword, eliminating him. Another fiend was fleeing, but Skaya caught him with her magic. He unleashed his power, bursting out of the magic barrier created by Skaya. Junho appeared, greeting him. Exhausted, the fiend stated he wouldn't die easily. Junho summoned the Watchguard of Darkness. The fiend retaliated against the summoned Watchguard's attack. Struggling against the relentless attack, Junho swiftly appeared behind the fiend. Although the fiend noticed Junho's presence and launched an attack, Junho defended himself with his sword. The fiend attempted multiple strikes, but Junho skillfully blocked each one. When the fiend attacked with his magic, Junho countered it using his darkness skill, effectively neutralizing the attack. However, the fiend continued to charge at Junho, but he sliced the fiend with a swift strike. Desperate, the fiend utilized a hidden ability to unleash a powerful blow. Junho summoned multiple golems to block the impending attack, shocking the fiend. Wondered how could Archmage's magic interfere in his attack. Then he realized that it wasn't magic but Junho's ability. After the battle, Skaya sat on the rooftop and asked Junho about the fiend's fate. He explained that he had hunted and read all of the fiend's memories. Curious, she inquired how he managed to read those memories. Junho disclosed that he possessed a skill called Confession of the Dead, which enabled him to access the memories of the dead. He further explained that he extracted a lot of memories from the fiend as he had been a fiend for 30 years. Skaya suggested a new plan where she would hunt the fiends alone, bringing them to Junho afterward to efficiently collect their memories and allow him to regain his power safely. Junho agreed to her proposal but expressed concern about the burden it would place on her. Skaya assured him that it was nothing compared to the sacrifices he had made in the past few months. On the frontier, Skaya enjoyed every moment as she set foot there. Junho reminded her about the condition of Gillian Lord's son. Commander asked Junho if Skaya was the friend he had mentioned, to which he confirmed and introduced her as Archmage Skaya Killiland, one of the Great Five Heroes. The commander immediately recognized her name, acknowledging the legends of the 5 great heroes that had spread throughout the frontier. He greeted Skaya warmly and welcomed her. They escorted her to the Gillian mansion, where the Lord and his wife expressed their gratitude to Junho, and found out one of the Great 5 heroes came to treat his son. He expressed his gratitude to her. They then took her to their son, Simuz, who was reading in a book. Junho asked if Simuz remembered him, and although Simuz apologized for being unconscious earlier, Skaya began treating him. Skaya puts Simuz to sleep and begins her treatment, placing her hand on his chest to control and repair his magic circuits. After some time, she completed her treatment, stabilizing his circuits. Skaya felt immense satisfaction in being able to help someone after 26 years. Returning to the conversation, the Gillian Lord informed Junho and Skaya that his son had dreamt of becoming a mage, but due to his condition, that dream seemed unattainable. He inquired if there was any chance Simuz could still pursue his dream. Skaya regretfully explained that once magic circuits expanded or contracted, they could never return to their previous state. Even though Simuz's magic was now stable, he would never be able to train his magic again, as Junho had mentioned earlier. Blaming the fiends for his son's condition after finding demonic energy in him, the Gillian Lord requested Junho and Skaya to hunt down those fiends and seek revenge for his son. They accepted his request, and suddenly a window popped up, displaying the quest details. Junho handed a book to Skaya, thinking it might be helpful for her. However, Skaya pointed out that it might be what he needed at the moment, mentioning that he could double his stats using that book. Confused, Junho asked Skaya if he could double his stats. Skaya asked for his hand and started performing something. She reminded him of her studies in science, and summoned an image of a computer. Junho recalled it was being referenced for boosters and his desire for something better than boosters. Skaya confirmed his thoughts, saying he met both conditions now. Perplexed, Junho inquired about the other condition, mentioning that he only had sturdier mana circuits. Skya clarified that he needed coolant to overclock himself beyond his limits, and Frost worked perfectly for that. Junho shared his struggles, having attempted multiple times but failing to stop overheating. Skya explained it wasn't his body needing coolant, but rather his magical essence needing cooling to ensure his brain didn't melt from overclocking. She suggested creating energy that could surpass overheating and sustain his magic circuits, admitting it was a riskier move but would help him grow much faster than boosters. Skya left the decision to him, stating he would find his answers. Junho asked if Skya was going somewhere, to which she replied she was going sightseeing. Tossing a coin at him, she mentioned it was her lucky coin and always kept it with her. Skya then asked about Frost's whereabouts, and if she had returned from the spirit realm. Junho requested her to be patient. Skya stated she'd consider it after dealing with the fiends. Frost glanced at the coin, realizing she mistook Skya for a mage but discovered she was a spiritualist. Junho felt concerned that Skya would strain herself, knowing he fought alone for the past year, and now it was her turn to shoulder the burden. He realized that quickly leveling up and returning to normal stat was the only way to catch up to Skya. Determined, he decided to master overclocking to reduce the gap. At Noya's shop, Junho brought his black armor in for repairs. Shocked at its state, Noya's grandson informed him that while he could fix it, it wouldn't be as durable as before due to the armor's condition. Junho requested a new black armor. Noya's grandson specified that he wanted to add some materials and asking if he can find mithril. He realized that the museum's door was made of mithril, so he obtained a large amount of the material. Noya arrived and scolded Junho for not greeting him first, then was surprised to see the mithril. Junho explained that he entrusted Noya's grandsons to make a new armor for him. Noya grew upset, but his grandson asked if they could work together. Noya refused, claiming the customer hadn't requested his craftsmanship. Junho asks if he was available for the task, and Noya mentioned there are a lot of reservations, and it would take years for his turn. However, his grandson exposed the truth that they hadn't taken any reservations. Ashamed, Noya eventually agreed to take on the request. Noya mentioned that he had seen news about Skya and questioned why she hadn't visited him yet. Junho explained that Skya immediately headed for the frontier after awakening, and had been occupied since then. Noya praised Junho for his efforts so far, but Junho reminded him that it was too early to be complimented as he hadn't awakened others yet. Nonetheless, Noya expressed his faith in Junho, believing that he would soon awaken the others. On the frontier, Junho was training to use his mana as coolant through overclocking. He felt changes within himself. While training, he threw a ball at full speed but felt the aftershock as his body temperature started rising. He attempted to use Frost's skill as a coolant to flow through his mana veins, but accidentally hit his head against the wall. Frost suggested using 15% of Frost as coolant initially, and then gradually increasing by 1%. Junho insisted on 5% increments each time, but Frost warned him about the risk of blacking out his magic circuits, potentially losing his ability to use magic forever. Reluctantly, he agreed to stick with 1%. He asked Frost to leave him and finish editing the video. After 5 days, Frost returned to the training room and found Junho lying on the floor. Frost inquired about Junho's training progress. He expressed that it was a lot harder than he had anticipated. She then informed him that she had completed editing the video and utilized all of his player points in the editing process. This caused Junho to get upset and demand an explanation. Frost explained that the new video would cover up to 10 times more player points than before. Junho watched the video and upon finishing, asked Frost if she had experience in this field before. She denied any prior experience, and asked why he was questioning that. Junho explained that the video was likely to generate 20 times more player points than before, which filled Frost with joy. They proceeded to upload the video. The next day, Frost was eager to know how the video was doing. Junho suggested that her to check the statistics herself. She mentioned she would check the analytics. Junho asked her about her expectations. Frost revealed she hoped the video would become number 1 on the chart. Junho commented that she's hoping for too much, noting that there were currently 2.7 million active players on the frontier. He mentioned that the current chart-topping video by the Dakibi Guild, featuring giants hunting, has 123 million views. This revelation left Frost shocked. Suddenly, Skya sent her community ID to Junho. He checked her profile and was shocked to find out that she had gained 1.4 million followers in just a week. Frost compared Junho's 7,000 followers with Skaya's massive following. He checked out Skaya's video and noticed that she appeared to be having fun while taking down fiends. He concluded that the reason behind her success must be her charisma and looks. He congratulated Skaya on her success, and she mentioned his video and the numerous responses it received. Frost suggested they look at the response from people. As they read the comments, most of them were positive, praising the video's quality and editing work. They then checked the video's ranking and found it was 43rd on the chart. Junho was happy with this achievement, but Frost expressed disappointment and hoped for a higher ranking. They proceeded to check the player points generated from the video, which amounted to more than 38,000. Junho assured her that it would generate more points and praised her on doing a great job. The Dakibi Guild Master watched the video and praised Junho's skills. His assistant informed him that after the Big Six meeting, they had conducted a background check on Junho. The Guild Master ordered his assistant to bring all the information they had gathered. He expressed suspicion about Junho's background, noting that he was raised in an orphanage, attended school normally, and then became a player. He doubted that someone with such an ordinary background could possess exceptional abilities, and the Guild Master suspected that the association might have fabricated his story. The Guild Master inquired about when Yuha had gone to scout for Junho. His secretary informed him that Junho had rejected the offer and preferred to be free rather than work under someone. Additionally, the secretary mentioned that Yuha and Junho maintained a good relationship. The Guild Master instructed his assistant to tell Yuha to invite Junho on the next dungeon expedition. In the training room, Junho was exhausted after the training. Frost arrived and asked Junho about what had happened. Junho explained that he could now control the overclock for 40 minutes, but after that time, he lost control. Frost asked if he wasn't satisfied yet. Junho told her that he was going to push his limits as far as he could. Suddenly, Skaya appeared, and Frost was scared. Skaya brought a fiend to Junho for him to read its memory, stating that it was strong. After reviewing the fiend's memory, Junho told her that it was just a small fry, a 120-level player. Skaya asked how come there were so many players with a higher level. Junho explained they had more time to level up. Then Skaya inquired about his training. He told her he was close to using 50% of his mana as coolant. She praised his progress in only 2 weeks. Then mentioned Frost, asking why she never sees her whenever she comes by. As they were leaving, a messenger from the Gillian family approached them and told Junho that they wanted to meet him. In the Gillian mansion, Junho greeted everyone, including Gillian Lord's son, Simus, inquiring about his health. Simus expressed his gratitude for saving his life. The commander mentioned that they wanted to reward him but didn't want to disturb him, considering he hadn't left his lodging in days due to training. Gillian Lord offered the use of their personal training hall. They presented Junho with a reward for the kobold hunt. Junho was astonished to see an elixir called snow granite, which was extremely rare to find. He asked if it was really okay for him to take it. They explained that due to him, there were minimal casualties, and he also cured Gillian Lord's son. He thanked them and accepted the reward. In the training hall, after consuming snow granite, all of Junho's stats increased by 10. He found himself able to control the overclock for a little longer than before. He wore a new belt given by Noya, capable of transforming into full-body armor. Junho activated the belt, summoning white and blue armor. Utilizing 60% of his mana as coolant, he swiftly slashed through wooden blocks and aimed for the candle. He managed to reach 67% coolant without losing control. He was eager to level up as his penalties would lift the next day. Meanwhile, a fiend sitting on the cliff informed his comrades that Junho had entered the field. Another fiend, based on Skaya's community account, mentioned she was in Wulong Forest, which was quite far. The fiends began their hunt for Junho. On the hunting ground, Junho was excited to hunt again after a while. He encountered a pack of whipped wolves. Initially attacking without using a booster or overclock, he realized their attacks were weaker than before. Junho grabbed one of their tails and threw it away, countering another attacking whipped wolf with a powerful punch. As more whipped wolves appeared, he drew his weapon to kill them. In the forest, an old man was seen cutting wood when a fiend ordered others to kill the old man and set a trap for Junho. Junho discussed with Frost that he felt much stronger than before. Frost suggested finding a fiend to test his abilities further. Frost suggested there might be a fiend in a nearby cabin. As they investigated, they noticed a trap that seemed to have been set by mercenaries or hunters for monsters. Then Frost noticed blood and discovered a body. Junho decided to read its memories. Suddenly, a man appeared behind them and asked if he had killed the person. Junho immediately killed the fiend. Other fiends appeared, trapping Junho inside the dimension. Junho found himself facing 3 fiends, recalling one of them from Cal Singer's memories. Ready to finish this quickly, Junho prepared for the battle. The fiends charged at him with multiple strikes, but Junho managed to dodge each one despite their incredible speed. He was swift enough to anticipate their moves. Suddenly, one of the fiends lifted the ground, and both attacked Junho at full speed. However, Junho closed the distance and swiftly eliminated one of the fiends. Enraged, the remaining fiend considered a different approach, suggesting long-range attacks. Summoning numerous arrows, they launched an assault on Junho. Reacting quickly, Junho activated his armor and engaged his overclock, dodging each arrow with incredible speed, surprising fiends. He charged at him with full speed. Using shadow shifting, Junho appeared behind one of the fiends, swiftly killing it. He then targeted the other fiend, delivering a powerful blow. As the barrier trapping him began to fade, Junho lost control over his overclock. However, Skaya suddenly appeared, helping to slow him down and bring the situation under control.